This video is for entertainment purposes only. Let's roll. Okay, so some more time at the range. That was pretty fun. Filmed that video actually quite a while ago, but I used the Glock19. Right here I have it with the flashlight on. This is what I call my my winter configuration, because the lights go out a little earlier with the sun going down earlier. So right here it's in a Bravo concealment inside the waistband holster. It carries more comfortable than it looks. And here it is here. It's empty, so so anyway, yeah, it works pretty good. Originally got this gun for a back a couple of years ago. It was real popular to send Glocks in to have workups done. Originally bought this to send it in for a workup. I mean, I come from an era where it took a long time to get a 1911 worked up. I thought, well, I'll just send it in and have it done. I never got around to it. Instead, what I did is I wound up just putting a bunch of rounds through it and then enjoying it for being a more or less stock handgun, except for a couple of add-ons I put in it. Only thing I changed on this was I put a set of True Glow sights in. I actually love these sights. They have a tritium. They're a tritium, combination tritium with the actual fiber rod. So it takes in the light during the daytime and you can see the sights very readily. Then at night the tritium capsules take over and you can see the dots on them actually glow. Went ahead and put a grip force adapter on it, and that actually does help. I actually absolutely cannot shoot a Glock stock without some sort of beaver tail. I get the actual slide running over my hands here. I can't get, I'm typically was taught to grip an auto high on the tang, what they call, which is like the old Jeff Cooper style of shooting, and I have to have some sort of tang on here, or a beaver tail coming over the back, and that the grip force does it for me. And if you notice, a lot of the newer polymer autos have a more pronounced back, so the person can choke up on the back of the gun more without having to get the slide running over the hand as badly, So that's I gotta have that beaver tail in the light. Actually, believe it or not, there's a lot of carbon buildup on this light right now. I need to clean it off with some solvent. But even with the carbon buildup, the light works really well. The TLR1, I picked the TLR1, and it actually, I've never noticed any changes in the gun's harmonics, or I never actually noticed the TLR waver in its ability to light up. One side, I go ahead and I hit it with a thumb and pulse it, or I could flip it with the index finger or the thumb, flip it up into the permanent on position if I had to. But it's worked very well. That's the same first set of batteries that I put into it, and it's been running ever since. I wouldn't mind actually getting one from one of my rifles, but I don't really do these. This particular gun doesn't do too good on reloads. I use my LCR when I reload to size my 9mm. And the Glock19, at least this one, more often than not, it will cycle my reloads, but I'm not very good at sizing. So sometimes if I have a weapon a round that's oversized, it'll jam up in there, and I'll have to remove the magazine and rack the slide really hard. I do the thing where I hold the slide and I rack it behind it. But it's been a good gun. I don't know if the military popularized these or what, but what I kind of think is everyone who in a country where you can own a gun, everyone should own a Glock. Everyone should own a 1911. And the reason why I say that is because of parts. Just simple parts. You can get parts for these things very easily. Barrels, extra parts, not only customized parts, but just parts in general to keep it running. Same with the 1911. Anywhere where there was an American presence, you're going to find 1911 parts. So it's not because I necessarily especially feel passionate about the gun. I just think that parts are, you know, what keep it running, and you're going to get parts. If you do a lot of shooting, eventually you're going to need parts, and parts are plentiful. I don't know if that's going to change later on, if another up-and-comer comes in and takes over. And, you know, like I noticed that the polymer SIGs are getting quite popular. I forget what model that is, but I stick with Glock just because of the parts. And some people are kind of thinking maybe the military popularized these. From what I understand, was the Army uses them in limited quantities, and that was more of a sourcing issue. Like one guy brought up that the you know, a lot of these special forces guys, they're huge, and they got these little tiny grips and these big hands. It would have been better if they had like a model not the 35, but the 34, the one with the longer slide, because that's a full-size grip. And now with the SIGs coming out, it might be a lot better because they got that full-size grip with the polymer and the same trigger pull every time. But I guess they bought these because it was a plain clothes option that didn't require that you can use as a concealable. But the cool thing about this gun is that it's a concealable, but offers features that full-size guns do, you know, offer. So even though you have a smaller gun, you know, at least not if you're in a free state, you still got your 15-round capacity. You still got your ability to hold a flashlight. So you have your ability to ride this thing around in a holster as a duty pistol. You also have the option to, you know, put it in a holster and use it as a sidearm. So that's kind of cool. There's a dual use. You can use it for a compact. You can also use it for a compact concealable, but you also use it for a duty pistol because it has a lot of features that duty pistols have too. So yeah, I mean I went with it because of that reason. It crosses over as a partly concealable, but you can also use it for duty pistol use at the same time, and plus parts. And all three of those, to me, made it a option to go with because I always have parts. It's relatively comfortable for a concealable, and it's also relatively viable as an open carry too. So that's why I went with it. So anyway, I got some video of me at the range shooting this thing and enjoying it as usual and putting more rounds through it. Whenever I go out and do a video with a Glock, I usually do factory because I don't want to have any type of lockups or stoppages. And I'm finding 9mm is actually the most available round. It seems that 45 and 9 are the most available where I'm at. And if I'm going to reload anything now, it's going to be Magnums, just because I'm having a hard time finding revolver calibers. So yeah, I enjoy the video. Shot timers haven't really gone down in price, but I still think the cheapest thing I could have bought is a shot timer and those two pieces of steel right there. Instead of having to do yeah, that was the one where I actually tap rack banged it, yeah. But the good thing about a shot timer, instead of getting to do a shot time maybe a few times during the year during a class, now I could take the shot timer out and decide and learn how fast I am right there in the field from week to week if I wanted to, depending on how many times I want to load up and go out to the range. shots. Kind of a fun drill. Kind of turns around, and every time I'm having to react to where the targets are when I turn around. What to do with one single round I have left? Take a timed shot, do a good dry fire at the end. Okay, so here I am at the 50-yard line. Some of these are going to, of course, miss because I'm at 50 yards, right? That's kind of a long distance for a pistol, but I figure, you know what, there is a situation where the guy had to shoot from 40 yards away, so I figured why not add it to my repertoire. Figuring push my abilities, hold myself to a higher standard even when I don't have to, and seeing if I can get a little more performance out of a pistol. What can I say? Don't let people bother you about shooting at 50 yards if you can shoot at 50 yards at your range and if it's allowed. Don't worry about the haters. Just let the haters worry about you. I mean, I think if you can shoot 50 yards with a pistol, bound to get some haters.